Hello, welcome to the Inside Outside podcast. I'm Jessica Mernan, author, horticultural therapy practitioner, and founder of Basker, where I help people use gardening and nature for mental, emotional, physical, and social well-being. And as much as I love nature, I really love being inside, watching TV, doing puzzles. I'm obsessed with pop culture. So each week I merge those two worlds together, and my guests and I talk about nature, that's the outside part, and then a current inside obsession. Before we dive in to our episode, as always, I share a reason why I love to grow. And in no particular order, reason number 4 of why I grow things: to create more movement in my life. I've had a long history of chronic illness, specifically with my endometriosis and adenomyosis. And because of that, I have some nerve damage, and because of some other body things, sitting for long periods of time can be really difficult for me and painful. And even though my profession now is helping people with nature, I still have to sit and edit this podcast, write my newsletter, do invoicing, pitching, and scheduling, sitting. And yes, I know that there's those walking treadmill desk things, but I don't have space for it, and I just kind of don't want one of those. So I'm sitting a lot still. And sometimes I don't want to go for another walk, but I want to be outside doing something. So my garden has been a huge motivator to move my body more, whether I'm seeding or weeding or raking or filling pots or cutting bouquets. I'm constantly moving my body outside, and it just makes me feel a lot better. And it's really helped offset all the sitting that I do doing things like this podcast. So that's my number 4 reason of why I like to grow. Today's guest, I don't think she ever gets tired of walking. I'm talking to Emily Fiffer. Emily Fiffer is the owner of one of my all-time favorite restaurants, Botanica, in Los Angeles. She also writes the newsletter Read, Eat, Repeat, where she shares her favorite books and easy and elevated recipes. I just made up that easy and elevated thing, and I really wonder how she's going to feel about that description. And she's who I go to for touchy, feely things sometimes. She's just a really great sounding board and very straightforward, always gives the best advice. So I'm excited for you to meet her on this podcast. She's actually been on the podcast, the old podcast that I did, so you might remember her from there. I will tell you, Emily's amazing, but we did have some audio issues with this podcast. I did my best to fix them, but there will be some echoing. And in general, I'm learning this new podcast editing platform I'm using, so each episode will be getting better and better, and I thank you for your patience with it. All right, let's get to it. But first, a quick break from this week's sponsor, Jenna Burton Wellness. I'll talk to you on the other side. There is a lot of conflicting health information out there, and the list of supplements, classes, and products you're supposed to use is confusing. And how would you even find the time to do all these things anyway, especially if you're struggling with your health? This is where Jenna Burton Wellness can help. Jenna Burton Wellness is a health coach practice dedicated to helping women feel their best from the inside out. Jenna combines functional nutrition, stress management, and sustainable lifestyle shifts to support long-term wellness to actually fit into your real life. If you're struggling with brain fog, fatigue, and bloating, or you feel like you lack support when it comes to your health, or you don't feel like your doctors are listening to you, or you need help with your wellness routine while navigating motherhood, or all of the above, it's hard as a woman trying to get good care, but Jenna can help. Jenna's core program, Gut Health Reset, is a personalized program led by a certified health coach and a licensed functional nutritionist. And this is not a one-size-fits-all program. It's compassionate, science-backed, and designed to help you reconnect with your unique body and finally feel good again. It's perfect for anyone who's been told your labs are normal, but still doesn't feel like themselves. It's also the program Jenna wished that she had when she struggled with her own health issues. She knows firsthand how defeating and lonely it can feel to not get answers. If you want to learn more about the Gut Health Reset or work with Jenna, head to jennaburtonwellness.com. And because you listen to this podcast, Jenna is offering Inside Outside listeners $200 off her standard gut health program. Yes, $200. She really wants to help you feel better. Again, head to jennaburtonwellness.com, and when you email her to set up a time, tell her I sent you for $200 off. Emily Pfeiffer.
Hi.
Do you remember the last time I interviewed you?
I'm scared to think about how long ago it was.
No, it was before you opened Botanica and you were in the process of opening it. And you were talking about fundraising and getting money and just how 90% of restaurants fail, but you're still excited to do this. And I personally have a hard time going back to listen to old episodes, but it's there if you'd like to revisit it.
I don't. I don't. That is amazing. That is crazy. That was 10 fucking years ago, dude.
10?
Yeah. Well, we've been open for 8. So what? It was probably 9.
Yes. Yeah, I remember exactly where I recorded it. I was in Dan's parents' house. Maybe there was a hurricane that was coming, which is probably what was happening. And we were at their house and I was sitting in their extra bedroom on the floor and I was interviewing you. So,
wow, what a throwback.
So still happy you opened the restaurant? Hey, you're the 10%, right? That didn't fail?
Yeah. Yes. Still happy with so many caveats and also very rewarding.
Okay. I like that answer. So on this podcast, we talk about inside things and outside things. And you're an interesting person to me because you're, I feel like, an on the low outside person. Like you don't talk about how much you love nature, but you're such a walker. You watch birds, like you're so into nature. But I don't identify you as like a nature person. Does that make sense?
Completely makes sense. I think everybody who knows me knows how much I love nature. But yeah, I guess I don't talk about it a lot. A lot is because I think nature can be really solitary for me.
Mm.
And it is where I go to really be. And a lot of the times that does not involve other people. However, and like I take multiple trips a year when I really feel like I need solace. I go up north and I stay in between like Stinson Beach and Bolinas. And I've been doing this twice a year for many, many years. And I just rent a little cabin and all I do is hike and walk on the beach. And I don't allow myself any inputs. So no music, no podcasts, like nothing in my ears, nothing except nature and ocean. And it is like always the most incredibly restorative experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all of my walking, I mean, 90% of my walking is alone, but I also walk with a lot of friends. I've actually been joking that like I don't see my friends at night anymore because everybody is always just like uses me as their like walking buddy, which I love. But now I found myself being like, I want to go out at night. And now I have like a bunch of like 7 a.m. plans, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's funny that you said that because I have a lot of friends when I say, hey, you want to grab a something? They're like, how about a walk? And I'm like, no, I actually just want to sit my ass down and look at you and drink some sort of sparkling water concoction and talk shit and not maybe be panting because it's 1,000 degrees outside.
Okay, well, it's so hot where you live. So that's the first thing. It's also really hot where I live, but I feel like you have a different level. The thing is that I have found that some of the richest conversations happen while walking.
Mm-hmm.
And just so like, it's kind of because you're not looking at each other. You're moving, it's kind of like, it feels natural. You're moving energy and that moves. I feel like, God, I'm trying to recall this this interesting thing that an Ayurvedic teacher once told me. And this is so, I guess, cheesy maybe, but emotions are energy in motion.
Mm.
And when that's kind of what I think happens, at least for me, when I walk, it's like I walk to think, I walk to kind of metabolize bad things that have happened, good things that have happened. I just always have to be moving, moving, moving. And I've found that conversations with friends can be so rich when we're moving together. And also, sitting across from each other. But I just I love a walk with a friend.
Yeah, now that you're saying that, I think, wow, kind of putting it together, I think maybe I prefer to walk alone because it is that time to do all those things that you said.
Such a reflective time. I mean, it's like, and
Yeah.
also it's like you have a kid. It's like you don't have a lot of alone time. So you need to really grab it while you can. And if I had a kid, I would never walk with anybody.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Also, great point. So, tell us about either your first nature memory or a time that nature has really impacted you.
Okay. I love this question so much. I kind of have a two-pronged answer. And one is kind of like the foundation of my love of outside. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago in like a very tiny little suburb. I often think back to it now as just like that was so incredibly quaint and like couldn't really exist anymore because I don't know, like it feels too time capsule.
Mhm.
It was less scary. All the kids in my neighborhood, we were like a neighborhood full of children, and we were all outside all of the time together playing sports. I was a huge athlete growing up, and basically as soon as you asked me that question, I just had so many memories of soccer, kickball, basketball, baseball, like every single sport being played on our lawn. Our house was like at the bottom of a very like sleepy street at the bottom of this hill, on a corner. We had a huge lawn with like a perfectly appointed like tree and rock that could be like first base, second base. And it was just, I spent so much time out there. I mean, it was to the point where like our parents wouldn't know where we were. It was just like we would leave the house and then like come back at dinner. Actually, I think I forget if was it Jessica or one of your other guests said, kind of described like a similar.
It was Joey Hernandez. Yep.
Yeah. And so I think that was like the foundation of it's a combination of like movement and being outside, and just like being in the sun and feeling a lot of freedom. And I did a bunch of outward bound trips uh, in early high school over the summer and was always like outside playing a lot of sports, doing backpacking.
You did?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Well, this
And
is what's so funny. I like lost that identity in Chicago fully.
yeah, because to me in Chicago, you were not an outward bound type person.
No, but it's so funny. I did three like really intense outward bound trips. And then I dated a guy in college who was very outdoorsy. He was from Berkeley, and we lived together in Truckee, which is outside of Tahoe, the summer after our freshman year. And we like went backpacking in Yosemite, and it was a very, yeah, it was like very outdoorsy,
Okay, wait, back up. How long have I known you?
like a million.
15, 17?
Wait, let's think. When were you at Gen Art?
I have no idea. Like maybe 15 years ago? Yeah.
Yeah, at least because no, longer, dude. I've been in LA for 10 years and I started working at Daily Candy in what, 2006?
Oh, wow. Okay, so longer than that. And I feel like you and I have had a lot of deep conversations about life in our past. I never knew this about you. Okay, keep going.
I know. It's very funny. And we talk about it in my family a lot too, because it's just like this, it was a huge part of my life and then kind of like went fully off the radar. So anyway, lived in Chicago for like whatever, how long, like 10 plus years after graduating college. And the outdoors just like, I mean, at least in terms of backpacking, camping, that like fully disappeared from my life. I was outside all the time enjoying moving and playing sports, but not, I just fully stopped all of my outdoor exploring and hiking and yeah, just kind of shut it out. But then
I wonder if it's because I know it's like technically there was some access to that, right? Like you could have found a place in the middle of nowhere in Illinois, or you could have gone to Michigan. I wonder if it was where you were or who you were with.
I think it was a combination of a few things. I was kind of like starting my life as an adult. Um, and my job was extremely city centric. My job was to like find creative people doing creative things and write about it.
Hmm.
Uh, and I And I always lived in like pretty gritty neighborhoods, not a lot of trees. And the people I surrounded myself with definitely were not outdoor people. And also, a huge part of it is like Erin, my partner, who I have been together with for a really long time, is really not an outdoor person, was not raised doing any of that stuff. Like I was raised like going on road trips, camping out, doing tons of outdoor activities with my family. We like drove to Wyoming and went to the Black Hills and the Badlands and have all these family videos of camping out with other families. It was like very outdoorsy. Yeah, Erin's not like that at all. And yeah, I think a combo of like social stuff and where I was in my life, it just kind of dropped off. But
Hmm.
then the second prong of the answer is that I moved to California in 2015 and my entire life changed overnight. I'll never forget, we got here on May 7th of 2015 and I closed the car door after we had been driving across the country. And I was just like, oh my God, I am so happy. I love it here so much. And from that minute, I was just outside, outside, outside. I mean, my hair is like 10 shades lighter than it was when I left. Um, I spend so much time outside here because you can.
Hmm. Do you feel like one thing that I think is cool and sad and is that sometimes those feelings that we had, like the feeling that you had at the end of your street with everyone there playing kickball, the grass, the everything, sometimes it's really hard to recreate those feelings as an adult. And do you feel like in LA you're sort of able to recapture that feeling that you had back then in nature?
What a great question. I think that what I've been able to recapture is extreme thrill of accomplishing something outside. So, like, when I think back to my childhood and I think about practicing basketball outside for literally 5 hours after I got back from basketball practice, because that's all I wanted to do, and just feeling so happy and in my element and in the zone, you're like in a flow state. And that's how I feel when I'm doing my favorite hike here. And it doesn't matter that I like do it so many times a week. I take a picture every single time I get to
Hmm.
the top of the same peak, like every time. And it's like, sometimes I'm like, Emily, what are you doing? But I just get so happy to be up there. And I'm like, I did this. It's such a beautiful day. Like, even if I started off and like, was working something out emotionally, what I love about the combination of being outside and moving is like that you kind of can't think and you just are like in your body and in nature. And I never listen to anything when I'm hiking either because I just think it's so important to like hear your footsteps, hear the birds, like listen to all the sounds around you. So I think that I've been able to recapture some like kind of a more adult version of the like childhood joy.
Hmm. When you were saying all of this, and you are a more private person than I am because I just decide to share everything. Would you be open to talking about boobs?
Oh my God, of course. Yes, my fucking
Because so you and I both have very large breasts. And I think that a lot of times hiking, sports, when you mentioned playing basketball when you were younger, I had this flashback to every single basketball game that I played. I was on a team in junior high and high school. I'm sure you've done this as a big booby person. I would take my jersey. I would be sitting with my knees up, and I would take my jersey and put it over my knees and wiggle to try to stretch it out as much as possible.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And I'm just wondering, as a big boob person, did you ever feel limited by them in nature doing these activities? Just aesthetically, because I know for myself, like as a teen, I didn't want everyone looking at my boobs jiggling up and down the court. And A or B or two is just the physicality of it felt harder sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I did not develop until I was like almost out of high school.
Oh shit. Lucky you. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't get my period until I was 17. I was like really tiny and really flat. And then all of a sudden, I honestly feel like I woke up one morning and like couldn't see my feet. I was like, what the hell happened here? And it happened just kind of overnight. And I was at that point only playing intramural. I'm trying to think. I was extremely self conscious. I wore 2 sports bras.
Oh, obviously. Yes.
Like a minimum. Yeah, it was horrible. Like I couldn't run comfortably. My back hurt. It was like, they were like the bane of my existence. And then I got a breast reduction in between high school and college. I mean, it's so much easier to run after you get a breast reduction, I have to be honest. Like, but yeah, it was really hard for me. And I also felt like I was limited, and also I don't know if you can say this word anymore, but I was a tomboy for like so much of.
Wait, why can't you say that word anymore?
I don't know. I just feel like does it mean something bad now? Is there like some
who knows? You're right. We could whatever. I'm keeping it in. You can say tomboy. Okay.
That's what I was. And I like dressed like a boy and wanted to be flat chested forever. It was like traumatizing for me when I got boobs because it was a huge identity shift too. Yeah. I had like a lifelong struggle with my boobs.
Yeah. Yeah. I just pictured little Emily with the big boobs that you had. And I was like, wow, that must have been rough, but it sounds like you didn't have to deal with that. So, okay. Boobs. I mean, I got a breast reduction and I want another one. So
me too. Wait, you do? Okay. We'll talk about this offline. I did not know. I mean, I'm happy to talk about it here too, but like, I did not know that you wanted another one. I have wanted another one for literal years, but I am totally terrified.
Oh, well, I personally don't think I mean, I survived, so it wasn't terrifying. I know you're not a Housewives watcher, but Meredith Marks on Salt Lake City, she's had like 4 or 5 breast reductions because they just keep coming back.
Oh my God. Well, that's really scary. The idea of going under for whatever reason now, like really freaks me out. I'm just like, what if something happened on the off chance and then somebody has to say she died getting a breast reduction? I literally think about that.
Okay. Going into my breast reduction, I told Dan, my husband, if I die from this, you have to tell them something else happened.
Yes.
Some that I died from, I don't know, like some weird disease.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can talk about it. I would love to get another one. I think mine are definitely not back to the size that they used to be because I was like a G cup. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, boobs. Okay. So on every single podcast, we're shifting out of boobs, by the way. So on every single podcast, I share a study or research or a theory that I think is cool that has to do with nature. And I try my best. Okay, when I say this is not going to be for every guest because I don't know how long I can do it connected to the guest, but this one is for you. And have you heard of the concept or the theory of prospect refuge?
No.
Okay, great. So this is a concept that Jay Appleton talked about. It's called the prospect refuge theory. And what this is that he proposes that humans are naturally drawn to spaces that give them opportunities to review their surrounding environment, prospect, with being able to also hide or feel safe, and refuge. And there are some people that are disputing this and have actually done studies to see how much of this is true. I personally feel it really hard myself. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, it's applied a lot to landscape design, but it's also applied a lot to interior design. And I think that the Botanica, your restaurant, outdoor space is the perfect example of a prospect refuge space.
Oh, I love that.
Do you agree?
I do. I do agree.
And I think to even take that further, there's something called biophilia, which is this urge to connect with other forms of life. So there's designers that do biophilic design when they're doing interior design or they're doing landscape design. And it's including forms of life. So light, air, water, plants. And I think that your space, there's a lot of light, there's a lot of air, there's some plants. And then you also have this staircase that goes up, which is also kind of a place of prospect of like, oh, I could escape if I needed to. Because truly this idea of the
to the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. I'm bringing this to you, and I'm curious when the person that designed your space thought about that at all.
That's a great question. I mean, we were trying to think of our back patio. So we did a gut renovation on our restaurant. It was a liquor store with like 8-foot ceilings. It was very dank and dark and small and felt very cloistered. And we opened the whole thing up, knocked out the ceilings, found that we had 22-foot ceilings, knocked out this like chicken coop junk filled area in the back and created a wall of windows. I'm just trying to give people kind of like an idea.
Yeah.
Like created a wall of windows leading out to the back patio. I mean, I think Heather and I both are really obsessed with light, or I'll speak for myself. Like I am obsessed with light. All I want, like even when every time we move and like look for a new apartment or a house, I'm just like, how much light does this have? Because I want as much light as humanly possible all the time. I cannot live in a dark place. We wanted it to feel like you were kind of walking into somebody's home, not literally, but in the way that you walk into a home and you feel like you can kind of like your shoulders go down. Yeah. And there's something about, I think, a lot of natural light that can just do that. I think like amazing romantic lighting at night can do something really similar. But if we're talking daytime, so I remember talking to our designers a lot about just like the feeling of home, bringing the outside in, because interestingly, so many places in LA don't have outdoor space, or, pre-COVID, they really did not. And it was super important that we had an outdoor space that felt like a real, like a break from the traffic, a break from the noise, a refuge. And they worked so closely with us to kind of help bring that vision to life. And honestly, all of the plants that are all over our patio, that I can take zero credit for that. We worked with a plant designer, and then has now just been like Heather does our patio plants and makes them look like very beautiful and bountiful. And they're growing all over. I mean, they've been growing for 10 years, some of them. It's amazing. So, like, uh, yeah, it's very, very green back there.
Well, you might have been designing biophilic design prospect refuge without even knowing it.
I love that biophilia. I got to look that up. It's so
Yeah.
cool. It sounds
Yeah,
like some sort of disease, but
yeah, I know. Well, I will include that in the show notes if you want to, and I'll just text it to you too. But yeah, I thought that concept, it's a concept that I have loved learning about taking my classes in horticulture and landscape design, because I mean, that's how, when I design a space, even just in my home, especially outside on my patio, I just redid my patio. I really wanted to feel engulfed by the greenery, but then also have a direct line of sight to, like, oh, well, there's an exit over there.
I think that's so interesting. Have you heard the conversation about, like, are you a mountain person or an ocean person? You know how people kind of divide,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, you're either this person or this person.
Mm-hmm.
Which one are you?
It's so hard because when I go to a place like I'm trying to think, when I go to Asheville, for instance, I'm like, oh, I'm for sure a mountain person. But then when I'm at the beach, I'm like, I'm for sure an ocean person. So I think it just switches with the two. And I always, when I hear that conversation, I'm like, I can't decide. I'm both.
I totally get it. I asked because I was kind of thinking about, like, when I do my stints and trips, I also like require both. But anytime I go away to anywhere in nature, I like need to stay by the water, and I do not want to stay in a forest. And it's because I like to like see. I feel like I can breathe and relax, and like I can see the horizon. And when I am in like a forest, like every time we go to Sea Ranch, I cannot stay in the forest. I'm like, I got to stay by the water. I have to see the water. I want to be by the water. It feels open and expansive in this way. And I kind of can feel like restricted in a forest.
Well, I will tell you that there's another study that it's for another podcast, but I'll send it to you, that they've actually done a study to sort of dispute that all nature makes people feel cozy and comfortable. And they gave the specific example of forests, because some people can feel overwhelmed and feel, I mean, again, going back to that need of, like, wait, where would I go if I needed something, or where could I escape? And so I'll send you that study, but it was interesting to show that not forests kind of make some people feel overwhelmed and have anxiety.
Totally. Yes. And like I've had moments of intense anxiety in forests on hikes where I've been like, where the hell am I? And then I've had moments of total exuberance. Um, but yeah,
But it sounds like it's that prospect that you need. Example, seeing the ocean, it's
totally.
so. Okay. Well, now we're going to move inside. And it was well, actually, you know what? I'm going to give you the categories, although it was no shock to me which category you chose. So categories are movie, book that you want everyone to see or read, internet gossip that you need to discuss, a food or beauty trend that must go away, or wild card. What did you choose?
I chose a book,
Mm-hmm.
which is not surprising at all because I'm like so predictable.
No, it's just you have a whole newsletter about books, so that's why.
Love to read.
Yes. So tell us, I'm so excited about this recommendation because I'd never heard of it before. So I want you to tell us all about it.
Oh my God. Okay. So my recommendation is it is a series of books. There are four,
Yep, 4. Yep.
and it's called the Cazalet Chronicles. And I feel like it is the most underrated series ever. I don't know.
Wow. Okay.
I just feel like not enough people know about this author, these books. Just for context, I read a lot and I read mostly old books. And I love, I'm a big Anglophile and I just like love all things England, Ireland, countryside. I just love, love, love anything coming out of the UK. And they have some incredible writers. And I don't quite remember how I discovered these books, but I found them right when the pandemic hit. And man, I don't know if it's that I like associate it with those first weeks, which were like simultaneously scary, but also like we were closed for like almost 6 weeks. And like that had never happened before. And I just felt like with everything going on and like all of the terror and sadness and darkness, I also felt like a huge sense of relief, to be honest. And like spaciousness in my days where I just, I was not the manager anymore. I wasn't on site for 10 hours a day. And so I just had more time. So these books are written by a woman named Elizabeth Jane Howard, and it's like a family saga, which who doesn't love that? And it takes place across many decades with multiple generations of this family, and they're kind of moving from their house in the country to their places in the city and all of the different branches of the family. And one of the things that I love a family saga, first of all, and I love books where you can like follow people like through their entire lifespan, but also the nature writing is so good, like so good. I love reading about like any kind of like, have you read I Capture the Castle?
No, we have such different book taste. And I want to read these though. I want to
Oh my
read these.
God, you cannot not love I Capture the Castle. That is another like sleeper hit by Dodie Smith, and it's just so incredibly special and magical. I think you will be obsessed with that book.
Okay.
But anyway, I love like any writing about like a country house with, a sprawling meadow and all of the plants and herbs and flowers and like crazy trees that are growing. I just could get lost in that kind of thing. Um, anyway, I'm probably doing a bad job of
No, you're doing a great job. In this, so this spans how many years would you say? Like 50?
Yes, and it goes through like both world wars. Um, so I want to say it starts in probably like the early 1900s, maybe. But it doesn't feel like uh old. Do you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
very much like a social family book.
Is it kind of like Downton Abbey-ish, where it's kind of those dramas could take place, or is it not like that?
It's less of, I mean, there is like a little upstairs, downstairs stuff happening, but it's more of a focus on the family and the relationships. And for being like written by a woman and written at, during a time where, I mean, the books take place in a time that was not very contemporary for women. There is a lot she takes some risks that I was like very surprised by. And I
Okay.
like love a feminist writer. I love like any kind of female just like heavy autonomy, heavy on the female freedom. Yeah, it is such an excellent series. And it's funny because I read them. I like tore through them and I was like, how is nobody talking about these books? They are so special and just beautifully written. And then I saw that Gia Tolentino also loved them. And I was like, I feel validated right now. So she loves them too, for all the listeners.
So, I should have Googled this, but I didn't. So these were never made into a film?
they were made into, I want to say, a TV series that
Okay.
I don't think I can watch it.
Wait, you don't think you can watch it because you can't find it, or you don't want to watch it?
I kind of don't want to watch it because
Okay.
I have never seen a movie that has lived up to the book ever. I don't want anything to like ruin my perfect experience of reading these books, honestly.
No, I listen, I get it. You remember my friend Chance?
Of course.
Him and I are in a new little book club that we started, just him and I, because he lives in Amsterdam now. And we are reading books that are being made into shows or movies.
Oh my God, that's fun.
And so we get to read it and then think about like our casting, and it's been fun. But I will say that something that I love so much about you is that your genre of books isn't narrow, where I would say over the past 5 or 6 years, 10 years, I just have become so narrow with what I read. And it's
Is that
either
because you're like self-protecting?
probably.
I think that's why. Yeah.
Probably. And the very narrow, and I don't know why, because this is not true of film, music, anything else. I only like reading women authors because I don't want to read a man writing a woman's perspective. I just can't. And it wasn't even something that I was aware of until I started looking at the books that I've read. I'm like, wait, I don't read any male authors at all. I like for the main character to be within my age range. Like, as soon as it says a coming of age story, I'm like, no, I want her to be my age-ish. And I kind of want it to be within the last decade.
Is that because you think it seems like you're looking for like guidance? No, honestly, like okay.
It is. It's nice
So
to break this down.
I find this fascinating. So there's this, have you heard of bibliotherapy?
No, but we just talked about biophilia.
Thinking the same thing. Okay, so I've been obsessed with bibliotherapy, and actually I'm like in another life, or like maybe in this life, I actually feel like I would love to pursue being a bibliotherapist. So
Okay, this is so cool. Go on.
I first read about it through the School of Life, and it was started by these two women, and it's exactly what you think. They prescribe books to people
Mm-hmm.
based on what's going on in their lives, what they're missing, what they're yearning for, what they're experiencing, whether it's like grief or a change of career or moving or whatever it might be. You basically get a prescription of all of these books to read to guide you through whatever season in life you're experiencing. And I think about books that way a lot when I'm choosing them, because, and I think probably a lot of people do this, but I'm usually chasing a very specific feeling in a book, or I am feeling something very specific in my life and I want to see that reflected in a book. And I'm wondering, it kind of sounds like that's what you're doing right now. Like you are looking for a reflection, or maybe even like somebody doing something fucking stupid, but at least you can maybe see more eye to eye with them because it's a woman who's about your age.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's interesting that that's what you're looking for right now. But I think it's totally normal to be doing.
And I think that self-protection thing that you said, I think, which is not something I ever thought of, but I think that has a lot to do with it as well. And I think that's also why I watch the kind of low rent shows that I watch, is because there's a part of me that doesn't want to feel too much right now, because I feel like
I get it.
I'm feeling. So you don't know this, or maybe he told you, but Aaron, your partner, I was going to send you a book that I thought you might think was fascinating. And he said, Did he already tell you this?
No, he didn't. I'm just like,
So when the fires were going on, I wanted to send you a little care package and I wanted to send you a book. And I'm sorry, as soon as he was like, I don't think that's a good one, I just completely didn't find another book. But he was right. So I started reading it and I was like, I can't read this. The book is Doppelganger.
mm-hmm.
And it was interesting because I couldn't read it because as soon as I saw the word Tucker Carlson in the book, I'm like, nope, can't read this book.
Yeah.
And if people don't know what this book is, it's about Naomi Wolf and Naomi Klein. Did I get that right? Yes. I'm confusing them. And how...
Well, that's the whole problem. I think that's...
Yes, that's the whole problem, yes. Is that Naomi Wolf kind of went off the rails during COVID in terms of things that we know people went off the rails on, but people thought that it was Naomi Klein. And so this book really explores that horribleness for Naomi Klein, people thinking like canceling her and doing all these things. And so I was like, I think Emily might think this is an interesting book. And when I text Aaron about it, he was like, she suggested for me to read it, but she couldn't read it herself. And I'm wondering if it was too triggering for you as well, just the current state of the world.
No, it's not. I generally don't really find media to be that triggering. But I will say that I use books to learn, and I also use them as an escape, like so many of us do. And I sometimes just want to read a fiction book. Most of what I read is novels, and I read a lot of memoir also, but I'm not a huge nonfiction person, at least at this point in my life. And I think, yeah, it's because I associate books and reading with like time for myself, quiet time where I want to be immersed in a world that is not real. And kind of like you were saying, like where you don't really have to, um, yeah, you don't kind of have to deal with what's going on. Like every time I am feeling low in life, I gravitate toward books and I'll read like crazy. It is like all I will do is just like read 10 books in a week if I'm feeling like kind of depressed. Um, yeah, if that said, I'm fascinated by Doppelganger and I really, really, really want to read.
I know. I'm wondering if I could
maybe listen to it. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this though, because have you read Elizabeth Jane Howard's biography, memoir?
Wait, is there one?
Yes.
Oh my fucking
I was
God.
hoping you
I
didn't
am
know
dropping
about it.
everything. No, I do not know about it. Wait,
So
is it a memoir or a biography?
Okay. I believe it's a biography. And I can find this link again, but because there's a quote from why she wrote it or contributed to it. And she said, I feel I've made rather a mess of my life. I wanted to examine that and see whether it was as bad as a mess as I thought.
Oh, God, love that woman.
It seems like she kind of had a dick husband.
She has a really interesting life story. And just for a little fun fact, her niece, so she died, actually, I think kind of recently.
It was like 2014.
Okay, so like 10 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Her niece is continuing a fifth book.
Oh, wow.
And people are like waiting with bated breath for this thing. I mean, she has a massive following in England, but oh my God, I need to read her biography.
Okay. It is a memoir.
Oh my God, even better. I cannot wait. I am so excited.
It's called Slipstream.
Okay. Wow. I don't know how I did not know about this. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, I didn't mail you the book during the fires, so I'll mail you this one. Anything else you want to share?
No, this has been so great. I'm just so glad that you're podcasting again. You're just meant to do it. You really.
Oh, thank you. Well, I think you're meant to do the things you're doing. And is there any, I mean, aside from serving some of the best food in Los Angeles, any other things that's going on at the restaurant that you're excited about or anything?
Let's see what's going on at the restaurant. Um, Nothing too public facing. I mean, I just want to say that I feel like our food has kind of never been better, and our pastries have never been better. And we're in a very like lucky time with our team, which feels so nice. Um, and yeah, I'm very grateful for that. I mean, considering all the shit that LA has taken this year, it's really, really, really nice to have such a like consistent, I don't know, stable team. Watch like everybody quit tomorrow.
Well, thank you so much. I'll include links to Emily's Substack, to Botanica. If you are in LA, please go to Botanica. It is just so freaking delicious.
Thanks, Jess. I love you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. That's the show. You know, we have lots of reviews on Apple Podcasts, but none on Spotify. So do me a favor, and if you like the show, give us a 5-star rating on Spotify. It will help more people find the podcast. And if you want to leave an extra Apple Podcast review, I'm cool with that too. And to find links for everything we talked about, check out the show notes or head to baskergardens.com and click on the podcast link. And if you want to learn more about horticultural therapy or how we can work together, go to baskergardens.com/pod and message me. Again, everything in the show notes. Talk to you next week.